Tonight for dinner, we're having steak burrito bowls. Is it going to be the exact same thing as that oh so famous restaurant out there? No. I just about died whenever I picked up this piece of meat today and saw the price. But we don't do this very often, so this is what we're doing tonight. I have been sitting here slicing up into bite-sized pieces. This is actually a chuck roast. I went back and forth between buying a London broil or the chuck roast, and to be honest, the chuck roast looked much nicer. I actually had this in the freezer for a couple of hours, so it was semi-solid. It makes it much easier to slice, but I'm going to finish slicing this up and get it into my bowl, and then I'm going to show you what the marinade is. And I forgot to mention, this was a 2-pound chuck roast, so use as much or as little meat as you want to meet the needs of your family. I have 3 grown men and me here, so we have 2 pounds of meat here. Next, I'm going to get started on the marinade. For the marinade, I have 3 tablespoons of chipotle sauce, or you could use adobo with some of the peppers, but I'm going to use the chipotle sauce. 3 tablespoons of water, a tablespoon of oil, whatever oil you prefer. This is grapeseed oil. This is what I have on hand. A teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of oregano, and some freshly squeezed lime juice. Calls for about a tablespoon. A trick to getting your limes to be juicier is to put them in the microwave for about 10 seconds. Poke some holes. These ones are not cooperating with me. Why are you not cooperating with me? We're gonna have to get the juicer, the reamer. Back with my reamer here. Oh, that's much better. And some freshly ground black pepper. And with your clean hands, you want to get in there and mix this all around. You're going to set this in your refrigerator for about 1 to 2 hours. And then we're going to cook it at a very, very high heat, just in a saute pan. You could do this on your grill. You could have done the whole steak on the grill and then sliced it up afterwards. But this is the way I prefer to do it. So now this is going to go into the refrigerator and it's going to marinate for about an hour or so. And then I'm going to move on and get started on the corn relish. For the corn salsa, I have 4 ears of fresh corn here. They've been soaking in a pot of water for about 2 hours or so. I'm going to pop this right into the microwave and I'm going to cook the corn right in the husks. That's what we're going to use for our corn salsa. I think it has to cook for about 8 minutes or so, but I'll let you know once it's done cooking. I'm just going to pop this in. I'm going to set the timer for 8 minutes. Maybe I'm going to set the timer for 8 minutes. And we're going to let that cook. While that's cooking, I'm going to clean up some of my mess here. Now, you could either pitch what's left of this, as I spilled it all over the counter, you could either pitch what's left of this, or what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in a zipper bag here, squeeze out the air as best as we can. And I'm going to lay this flat in my freezer and I'm just going to freeze it. That way we'll have it on hand the next time we need it. Does anybody else do this? They go to the store and I'm constantly buying lemons and limes. Look, I have another bag over here. Correction. I have another 2 bags over here. Note to Jen, stop buying lemons and limes for right now. And typically I make my lime rice, my cilantro lime rice, typically I make my cilantro lime rice from scratch. But tonight I'm going to cheat. I wasn't feeling good when we went to the store today. I found these packages of Knorr cilantro lime rice. We might have to jazz it up. I don't know. But hopefully it has good flavor. But that's what we're going to use for our cilantro lime rice. I'm also going to be making homemade guacamole. I found 2 nice avocados. I have some tomatoes and some onion, and I think I'm gonna, listen, this is not make it from scratch today, people. This is get dinner on the table and do it the easiest way you can today. Typically, I do avocados, I do onion, I do tomatoes, and then I add some garlic, which I still might. Maybe I still might. Maybe I will just do it the homemade way. To be determined. And I just realized now that I was recording with the intent to post this to YouTube. And normally when I record for YouTube, I record sideways, but you're getting up and down today because my brain is just not here with it today. So as I said, we went to the store, right? Rich and I went to the store. He went to get a haircut. I was looking at the fruit. Plums, nectarines. You know what some bullshit this is? Nectarines, plums, fruit used to be sold priced by the pound. I looked at the price. It said $1.14 for the nectarines. And I thought, that's a really good price per pound for nectarines. Do you know when I got up to the cash register at the Walmart, they're by each? Like, what the hell? When did that change? That just means I will not be buying my fruit from the Walmart. I will be going elsewhere if that's the case. Because what if one nectarine's larger than a smaller one, right? Can they guarantee that they're all the same weight? They can't. Why am I paying the same price? Same with the plums. My plums are not all the same size. Why am I paying one price per plum? I think somebody done messed up there. Oh, and not to mention that the nice older lady, and I'm going to say older because she's older than me, who was like staring at Rich and I as we're checking out our groceries, like we were going to abscond with something, like we were going to steal something. Like, really? Like, really? I'm going to go to jail for not scanning a case of water? I don't think so. They normally don't watch you like that, but this lady, I don't know. We must have looked shady or suspicious. Maybe it was just Rich with his fresh haircut. I can't see where I cut it. I know I cut it. Oh, these are not as soft as I thought they were going to be. Be careful when you're cutting these. You don't want to cut yourself. One was definitely softer than the other. Already out of the skin. I think we're gonna have to get the potato masher. I got a soft one and I got a harder one. Imagine that. Some lime juice. Some garlic, however much you want. I have probably a tablespoon. And just keep mashing this up to the consistency that you want. If you want it more smooth or if you want it more chunky, I guess that would be smoother and chunkier, huh? Just keep mashing this up to the consistency that you want. Smoother or chunkier. I have my handy dandy little microphone on today. I don't know if it helps with the speech or not. My air conditioner is running behind us. It's very, very hot here again. And I do have a loud air conditioner because it runs off the furnace, and the furnace is just down the hallway. That's what we're looking like. Finely chopped tomato. This is a Roma tomato. So it has less seeds, more flesh. Again, if you want big pieces of tomato, cut your tomato a little larger. I'm trying to get this as small as I can here. I'm the only one that eats this in my house anyhow. Nobody else goes near this. And don't forget the little pieces along the cap there. Okay. That's going to go in our bowl. I have some onion here from when we had hamburgers the other day. And we're going to just chop that up finely, and we're going to add it to the guacamole. Why throw away the onions when we can still use them, right? That goes in the bowl. I add a little bit of hot sauce to mine. It's a little heavy on the lime side right now. A little heavy on the lime juice. Let's add some salt. Normally, I would add a little bit of mayonnaise to this. I know, weird, right? Let's see if we have mayonnaise. I have a little bit. Not much, a couple tablespoons. That's all you need. It adds a creaminess and it adds a little bit of flavor to it. So I guess at this point you could call this a guacamole dip instead of just guacamole, but much better. Pop that into the fridge to go hang out and get all the flavors mixed together. And to go with any steak burrito bowl, of course, you're going to want some corn salsa, which we're going to be making with this fresh corn here. This corn was microwaved in the This corn was cooked in the husks in the microwave for 10 minutes, and then it's been sitting to rest for about another 10 minutes. When you cook it that way, the silk comes off of the corn so easily, but it's super hot. Yowza, that one's really hot. They really do peel so easily doing it that way. This is where the messy part comes in, cutting the corn off of the cobs. Much easier to do when the corn is cooked already. You could use frozen for this as well and then just heat it up in the bag, but I like the fresh corn for this. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. 2 to 4 ears of corn. I'm going to add some, I have these green chilies in my fridge. You could use a fresh roasted pepper, but I want to use these up. So I have about 2 tablespoons of green chilies going in. About a half a teaspoon or so of cumin, ground cumin. I would add cilantro if I knew where my cilantro went to. I have some dried cilantro. I gotta go find that. Found it. About a tablespoon and a half. You could use fresh for this, but we don't like the taste of fresh cilantro. A little bit more lime juice. I'm all sorts of off kilter today. lime juice. And I forgot onions. We'll have to cut up onions. Looks like there was a corn massacre here on this counter. You could use red onion for this, but I'm going to use a Vidalia onion because that's what I have on hand. I don't usually buy red onions too often. I would say 90% of the time I cook with a sweet onion. And I'm not going to do a whole lot. I'm just going to do a little bit of onion. That's plenty. We'll put the rest in a Ziploc bag and we'll put it in the freezer. Not in the freezer, in the fridge. And that's it. You just mix that all together, get the corn broken up. I'm going to throw the rest of those chilies in there. So about 3 tablespoons. That's nice. Into the fridge that goes. I love that fresh corn taste. All right, into the fridge. Have some cilantro lime rice cooking in the back. Put a little bit of grapeseed oil in our pan and wait for that to get hot. And we'll add our steak to it. And I'm cheating today. I'm using some packaged cilantro lime rice from Knorr. This is actually like rice and pasta, you know, like the rice-a-roni stuff. But it's the Knorr cilantro and lime rice. Because when you're not feeling well, you just figure out how to cut corners. It'll be fine. Our pan here is nice and hot. We take our meat that's been marinating. We may have to do this in 2 batches. Or maybe not. We can just dump that all in there. Don't forget that last little piece of meat. Let it sit for 30 seconds to a minute. Fairly high heat on the stove for this burner. And this is going to cook really fast. Depending on how you like your meat. So we're just going to let that sit for about a minute or so, and then we'll come back and stir it. It's looking good. Now, if you wanted a little bit more of a char on this, you could cook this on the grill. But I'm going to continue cooking this for a few minutes till the doneness. I want it like medium rare. That's the way we like it. And I'll probably drain off a little bit of this liquid that's being released from the meat there. So if I waited till that liquid all evaporated, the meat would be way overcooked. So we'll be back to assemble our bowls. Let's get one of these bad boys plated up. In the bottom of this dish, I have cilantro lime rice. I have the steak. On top is going to go some of the corn salsa. We're going to do queso cheese. A little bit of lettuce. Some green onion. Some tomato. A nice healthy dollop of whipped cream. And rich like salsa. So a little bit of salsa on there. In the end, I decided to forgo the beans. So that's our steak burrito bowl, done the homemade way.